What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at Sherlock Holmes, starring Robert Downey Jr., Jude Law, Rachel McAdams, and Mark Strong. This film is directed by Guy Ritchie. Alright, so Sherlock Holmes tells the story of Watson and the titular character of Sherlock Holmes as they are recruited by this secret order to try and solve a series of crimes being committed by a man named Lord Blackwood, who is a master of the mystic arts. Okay, that's the overall plot line of Sherlock Holmes. Let's talk about it. I overall thought that this is a overall very good and entertaining movie. Now, I was never a humongous Sherlock Holmes fan. Never read the books. Always knew of the character, but it never really interested me. But after watching this movie when it came out in 2009, I started to gain a new appreciation for the character because I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I think it's really, really good. I think Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes, he brings a quirky wittiness to the character, and I think Downey fits the role just like an absolute glove. I love Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes. I just love the sense of humor he gives Sherlock Holmes. Like I said, I like the quirkiness he gives Sherlock Holmes, and I just like his investigative skills. And like I said, Downey plays the role to perfection in my eyes. So when it comes to Downey as Sherlock Holmes, no complaints. Jude Law, who plays Watson, I thought he fit the role like a glove as well, and I thought that Downey and Law have really good on-screen chemistry together as Holmes and Watson. And some of the best character moments come from these two just bantering off one another. So zero complaints on the Watson end. Rachel McAdams plays Irene Adler, who is a kind of sort of love interest to Sherlock Holmes, and I like Rachel McAdams as an actress. I enjoyed her in this movie, and I like the underlying romance the underlying romance that's really just sexual tension between Adler and Holmes. I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I also like the fact that Adler is secretly working for Professor Moriarty, who is pretty much sprinkled all throughout this movie. He's not a lingering threat, but he is a force that's pulling the strings behind the scenes, so to speak. So I like all of that. I like how she's our connection to Moriarty, who is the ultimate endgame when it comes to the Sherlock Holmes universe. So, but I also like how that didn't overshadow her character because she has her own character, she has her own thing, and Irene and Holmes do have really good on-screen chemistry with one another, and I really do like the performance of Rachel McAdams. Uh, Mark Strong plays the villain of Lord Blackwood, and I like Mark Strong as an actor. I thought, from a performance standpoint, he did a fantastic job playing the character of Lord Blackwood, just giving him this very creepy, ominous presence. I like the whole thing of Blackwood being a master of the mystic arts, but he's basically just using trickery and sleight of hand to suggest that he's using black magic. Uh, but when it comes down to an overall thing, I don't find Blackwood overall to be a very interesting villain, mainly because his ultimate goal is to take over Britain, and then he wants to recolonize the United States. That is Blackwood's endgame. It's really weak and it's really boring, and that's really, to me, that's really what brings the movie down, is the villain of Lord Blackwood, because he just doesn't interest me whatsoever. It's a good performance, but it's a villain that I just doesn't really strike me at all. Doesn't give me any interest. Um, while the Blackwood character does not give me any interest, the investigation to his crimes is what brings me a lot of interest. And I thought Guy Ritchie did a fantastic job at making this feel like a really engrossing, detective style of movie. Like, I thought it was really well done. So yeah, well, now I've covered the actors. Let's talk about Guy Ritchie and the production value of this movie, which I thought was fantastic. I thought Guy Ritchie and his cinematographer did an absolutely fantastic job at recreating 1890s London, the gaslight era of London. I think it looks fantastic. The costumes look authentic and of the period. The sets look beautiful and immaculate. I mean, yes, this movie does have a reliance on CG in a lot of areas, but it's not overly done, and it works for the most part, for me at least. Uh, I love the use of Guy Ritchie's slow motion. I love how Guy Ritchie uses slow motion in this movie. It actually looks kind of cool in a lot of areas. My favorite use of the slow motion is where Sherlock Holmes is in a bare knuckle brawl that's where the use of slow motion is really well done. That's also where we really get the sense of Sherlock Holmes really knowing his anatomy and knowing how to defeat an opponent, and it's really brilliantly done. I love all that stuff. The other action sequences in this movie, they're okay. They're nothing spectacular. They're mostly just brawls. Particularly this one brawl with this gigantic Frenchman who's actually the former Kurgan from the WWE. Yeah, no, it's a very entertaining brawl and slash chase. That's okay, but that's not what this movie's really built on. This movie's really built on the investigation and Sherlock Holmes trying to find out how Lord Blackwood has survived an execution where he was clearly thought to be dead. And when it's revealed that he was just using trickery, sleight of hand, and just modern science in order to fake his death and to make people believe that he was using black magic, the way Sherlock Holmes is able to solve all this is actually kind of cool, and it's fun for the audience member to go on this investigation with him as well. So I do enjoy all that stuff. And of course, the ending of this movie does set up Professor Moriarty to come into the sequel. So, yeah, those are just my overall thoughts on Sherlock Holmes. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. I highly recommend it. It's a very good, entertaining detective action mystery type of movie. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Sherlock Holmes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.